Hey, sports fans, Larry Eder, Run Blog Run, Socialing the Distance. Today we're featuring Javianne Oliver. She is a member of the 2021 U.S. Olympic team at 100 meters. Yay! Javianne, congratulations. She's a
Thank you.
Nike-sponsored athlete. Uh, I've got to watch your race for a while, but never gotten to talk to you. So thank you for giving us some time today. And congratulations. That was so
Thank you
much
so
fun to
much.
watch you. Um, Let's start with the fun stuff. Tell us about that race. What was the 100-meter final like?
You know what? It went by so fast that I don't think there was much thinking. At the
Huh.
beginning, I'm just like, look, this is a big race. You're prepared. So just run as fast as you can, do everything correctly. And I mean, it paid off. I wasn't really thinking during the race, though.
Uh-huh. Did you know at the end of a race where you're at? Did you sense you'd made the team?
Yes, I did. But for some reason, it doesn't feel real until it comes up on a screen.
Yeah.
So I knew where I was, but I just wanted to feel official and make sure that everything was good, set to go, and everything.
And you ran 1083 wind aided in the heats or the semi. Was that correct?
Yes.
Okay. How did that feel?
Uh, that was also another one of those races I was just trying to get from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wish it wasn't wind dated. I would have really loved to see what I actually ran, but I
Oh,
mean, I felt
sure.
good. It felt good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Talk to us about the pressure of being in the Olympic trials. Do you put pressure on yourself? Is that where the most pressure comes from? Is it like the fans and the media? Give us some insight there.
I the pressure for me was mostly from me. I
Okay.
went to the meet. I don't think many people expected to see much out of me. A lot of people don't know my name. A lot of people haven't heard about me. So it wasn't much pressure from like fans and media. Most of it came from me and making sure that I did everything that I wanted to do to leave it all on the track. And that was pretty much it. I wasn't going into it too nervous, not too much pressure from outside people. So it wasn't that bad.
You We get spoiled in the US because there's 1095s here, 1092s here, 108 somethings here. People don't understand how much work it goes into doing that. Um, were you surprised at all by your times of the trials?
I won't say I'm surprised, but I'm impressed because um, this year is the first time I ran sub 11, and then I did it three times within 24 hours. So
Yeah.
I'm more so impressed that I was able to go through the rounds and be consistent. And I
Hmm.
know that's a lot of hard work to, run sub 11, but to be able to run it three times lets me know that I'm right where I want to be.
And who are you coached by?
Dennis Mitchell.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've known Dennis for a long time. Awesome. The what did Dennis tell you before the race? Does he give you advice? Is he like a big talker before the race, or is he like kind of stay in the background?
He's not that much of a big talker. He's more so like, you've done this before, you know what to do, just go do it. And
Uh,
that's exactly what I try to do. It helps me stay calm. I think
yeah,
me and him have a relationship where he knows I'm not like one of those athletes. He can like hype up or like pump up. I'm just really like, keep me calm and we'll do okay.
cool. Now, do you train with Shikari?
Yes, that's my training partner.
Okay, that's what I thought. So here's a question. And what's it like to train with somebody and then race with somebody? Do you kind of have to? You obviously have a friendship and a camaraderie because you're working out every day. How do you stop that when you're racing, or you just kind of go, okay, for the next 5 minutes, it's just all about me getting this done?
Yeah, I mean, it's a mixture of both. We know that we're both competitors and teammates.
Mhm.
We go into this thinking like, if anybody else were to beat me, I'd rather it be you because I
Yeah,
mean, that's who you work out with, how hard we both work. So, we give our fist bumps, get on the line and go.
that's cool. What's been the toughest part of training during the pandemic for you?
Um, I think probably just making sure we're safe.
Yeah.
You know, we're in a group and we're working out and we don't know where everyone else goes outside of practice. So, we had to take protocols and wear a mask at practice and it's hot, disinfect things over and over again, wipe down things. It was more so making sure that we were not only keeping ourselves safe, but each other. But besides that, that
Yeah.
was pretty much the only hard part. I mean, we've gotten used to, going to the gym and cleaning up. I mean, we just got kind of used to doing that anyway. So it wasn't that bad.
How was 2020 for you? When did you realize that, well, we're not having an Olympics? This pandemic is not in a Stephen King novel. When did it hit you that life was changing?
I guess when there were rumors that the Olympics would get canceled, we discussed that it's a possibility and more than likely it was going to get canceled. So at that moment, I was like, wow, we really trained really, really hard. And there's no trials, there's no Olympics. So that's when it really hit. But, I'm kind of grateful for the pandemic year. It really gave me some time to work on some things that I needed to improve for this year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's the pros and cons of it.
What was it like going to Europe indoors this past season?
I mean, it's interesting. There was a lot of strict COVID protocols there. Did a lot of testing, but it was fun. I mean, we didn't get to do much besides go to the track in the hotel, but I mean, that's what I was there for anyway. So, it was just fun that was my first circuit and that's the longest I've ever been in Europe. So it was just nice to get the experience out the way.
How was the food? How were the hotels?
It was an up and down experience. I think I stayed at like 4 different hotels. So food was different everywhere. Some places were better than others. Some hotels are better than others.
Yeah.
It was just a lot moving around.
Where did you go to college?
I graduated from the University of Kentucky.
And who was your coach there?
Coach L'Oreal.
Oh, yeah. I knew Coach when he was at Stanford. Good man. What did you learn as a college athlete? What was the biggest lesson that you learned as a college athlete?
That this isn't as easy as it seemed before I decided to go professionally. Especially like not competing, but more so training with other professionals in our group in college. It was just a good experience to see that it's not just, hi, I'm a pro, I'm just going to go run. There's like a lot of different things you have to adjust between college and professional. So it was nice to see that first. I didn't exactly take those tips at first, but as I got older and learned how to be a professional athlete, I could see why some of the things they did made more sense now.
When did you decide you wanted to be a pro athlete?
I think it was 2018. I decided to run unattached after college. I did an indoor season and I won USA's indoor that year.
Yeah.
And that's when it became real. And that's when I actually started becoming a professional Nike athlete. Mm-hmm. So that's when it started.
Do you like the 60 indoors?
I do. Pretty quick.
It seems that when athletes run well at the 60 indoors, it really helps them outdoors. Do you see that? Has that been a benefit for you this year?
Yes, this year it has. Especially the first 60 being so important in races and practicing that so much for this indoor season really helped for this outdoor season, in my opinion.
How good are you with blocks?
I think I'm pretty good. I think I have one of the best starts when I'm executing correctly. But, I've really, really worked hard at that part because I know how important it is to get out front. So I think I'm pretty good at them.
How much time do you take time every day to work on your blocks?
Not every day.
Okay.
Not every day. Maybe every other day, or depending on how my body feels, I might, do it another day instead of that day. But it's not every day.
What workout do you do that you're not really excited about when Dennis gives it to you, but you know it's a good test of telling you where you are? Do you have a workout that's like, a certain number of 200s or 150s or something that are the way that Dennis has you do it, that just tells you, I am ready to roll?
Yes. I won't say I dislike it, but I think when we have a workout, when we do maybe like more than 2 or 3 150s, and
Okay.
it's usually, we caught the first 100 and the last 50 is trying to hold on. And that's
Yeah.
where I start not to like it because I mean, you just run, I run 100 as fast as I can. Now you have to keep going and trying to keep the form you had at the end of that 100, like that measurement. And I don't know, it's just that last 50, I'm just tired.
Do you like to race the 200 or not?
I'm not against it, but I just haven't done it in years and I've never trained
Yeah,
for
because when
it.
you
So
you've got about a 2292 that you've run, I think. And yeah, I was just curious. Um, what's your perfect racing distance?
the 100.
Okay,
I
cool. No, because I get different questions. Like I remember I was talking with Shawnee Miller-Weibo, and she said, "Oh, the 300," and then she thought, "Oh, she's nope, 250." And then I've had other people say 250. I've had other people say 150. So I'm just kind of curious. Um, the the quality of the 100 right now and the quality of women sprinters right now means it's going to be huge in Tokyo. Uh, is that getting you excited?
Yes, it is. I'm just excited that I'm a part of it too. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
huge.
Do you want to run? Would you? Okay, let me do this right because I don't want to get you in any trouble and I don't want to cause any issues. If the coaching staff asked you to run the 4x1 relay, would you like to do that?
Yes, absolutely.
Cool. All right. Yeah, 'cause there's so much politics in the relay stuff. I try to stay out of it, but I'm always curious because some runners, some sprinters love the relay. Some are kind of like, well, I'm kind of focused on this, and I'm just kind of curious with your thought process. The last 18 months, most of the meets that you've been, there's been little or no crowd. Now, this one, Eugene should have been completely full. And if there hadn't been a pandemic, there'd have been 22,000 screaming fans for you. Now there's about 7,000 a day because most people don't even know you can come to the meet. How are you doing with that kind of change in crowds? Do you notice it? Or do you just notice it afterwards?
I more so notice it afterwards. Every here or there, I might hear, when they do the announcements, announce each one of us. I'm like, wow,
Yeah,
that's nice to hear, people clapping and cheering with your name instead of just silence. But
sure.
besides that, yeah, it doesn't bother me too much. I'm more so hear fans at the beginning and the end.
Okay. What's the toughest part of the 100-meter race for you?
Probably my last like 30 meters, actually.
Okay. And why is that?
I before this year, I had a really hard time finishing it correctly. So,
Mm-hmm.
just execution and having proper technique. I think it's just the speed got away from me, and I used to just let it. And this year, I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? Me and my coach decided we're going to take control of this, and we're going to work on some technique so I can actually use the speed and finish the 100 all the way through.
So when I interviewed Carl Lewis when he was running, he told me that his best races was when he learned how to relax. And when I was talking to Ryan Krauser the other day and he set his world record, he said the biggest problem with him in the shot was him. He said when he got out of his own way, he threw better. So what it's telling me is there's something about getting comfortable in your own skin and being able to relax. So how do you look at that? Do you need to be relaxed in races? When do you run your best races?
I actually think I'm opposite. I run a lot of my best races when I'm a little anxious.
Okay.
I try, if I'm not nervous or if I'm not anxious, I've learned that I don't execute right. Maybe I get too relaxed and I don't care. I don't know. But most of my races come together when I'm super nervous or I'm really anxious.
Yeah, no, when I've talked to athletes about being nervous, I can't think of anyone who says that. Actually, the ones who told me said, yeah, when I'm real relaxed, or when I'm not nervous before a race, and I don't tense up, that's when they have problems, And so I'm just kind of curious on how people deal with it. What's the hardest part of the 100 meters to master?
I think for me also is the transition from like coming out of my drive, getting up and like going, because it's like one of those parts of your race that I think you actually have to think about, and I don't like to think. So, yeah, that was the part that I also worked on. Besides the last 30 meters, it was, okay, I'm out. My blocks were good. I'm driving. Okay, now what? So I think it's that transition part.
Did you surprise yourself taking second?
Yes and no. Just knowing that, like, what kind of work I've been doing and how hard I've been working. Then I have my training partner beside me. I know how we train and how hard we work. I mean, I just feel like I train with one of the best, so I can't go into a meet that scared. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
How long are your workouts each day?
It varies. Around this time of the season, probably 2.5 hours.
Okay. And when you're in the training phase, not when you're preparing for racing, how often do you lift?
Training 3 or 4 times a week.
Do you do core work? Like kettlebells, things like that?
Not at practice. Maybe like on my own, like maybe some planks and stuff, but usually not.
Is nutrition a big part of your training regimen?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So lots of vegetables, lean meats.
Yeah.
Are you allowed any junk food?
I am. I've learned not to keep myself away from things I like, because I will go crazy over them. So every so often I'll eat something that I probably shouldn't eat, maybe a lot of it, but once I get out my system, I'm good for a while. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, there we
Did
go.
it come back up? Okay.
Yeah, we're good. What's your favorite junk food?
Candy.
Okay.
Yes, I am huge on sugar.
Hey, I get it. Do you drink coffee?
Occasionally.
Okay. Are you a tea person?
Yes.
Okay. What do you do when you're not training?
Not much. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Most of the time, I'm taking class through a scholarship through USOCP.
Oh, cool.
And that's most of my time, just to keep me busy. I play a video game called The Sims. Yeah, I don't do too much. Most of the time when I come home, I'm dead tired anyway, so just kind of chill.
Is there do you binge on Netflix?
Sometimes if there's a show I really like, I'll just go into it.
What's your favorite? What has been your favorites recently? Anything you've really liked on Netflix?
It's actually on Hulu, and it's called Cruel Summer. It's on Freeform.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, my girlfriend and I watch Schitt's Creek and And then with my son's been here for a few days, so he got me back on Adult Swim and all those goofy things,
Yeah.
And but they're great because it just kind of clears your mind, and every once in a while you
Yeah.
need that,
Yeah.
Will you go to Europe between now and Tokyo?
I think that's the plan. I don't know exactly what meets yet or who's having 100 meter there. So hopefully I'll find out in a couple of days or so.
Cool. What did Dennis say to you after the race?
Um, we were both a couple of teary-eyed crybabies. So I just
That's
remember walking
good.
up. I think he was like, "Thank you for allowing me to help you get to this point. We did it," and just things like that. Just real. We came a long way, so it was really
Yeah.
emotional.
Did you get to talk to Justin after his race?
Yeah, he came over back to our group.
Good, good. Yeah, I felt bad for him. I've known him since he was in high school, so
Yeah.
there was a lot of people cheering for him. And I mean, I think both of the hundreds were really, really exciting.
Mhm.
But I think the women's hundred is really. I mean, you've got a group of 8 or 9 women athletes in the U.S. right now that are tremendous, and
Yeah.
it's pretty exciting with the team you're going over to Tokyo. What's the most exciting thing for you going to Tokyo?
Um, well, besides the Olympics, I've never been to Japan. Um,
Mhm.
I think, that's huge. I think just going somewhere that I haven't been, I like to travel and say like, hey, I've been here. I know the circumstances aren't
Sure.
going to be, can't walk around and see things,
Yeah.
but just to know I've been, and a lot of
Yeah.
people can't say they went to Tokyo, so it's okay.
Yeah. That'll be cool. That's cool. Um, will you? You're a professional athlete. Um, do you see yourself competing through 2024?
Yes,
How about
I do.
2028?
Oh, we'll see in 2024.
Yeah,
With
it's a
age
long
and
way. It's a
things,
long
we'll
way
we'll
away.
see. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a long way away, so we'll see.
We've got a world champs in Eugene next year. Um, what are you thinking about that? Have you allowed yourself to think about that yet?
I have not. I haven't thought that far ahead yet. I would just take it meet by meet and worry about that a little closer to it.
How do you like Hayward Field? How do you like the new stadium?
It's awesome. I haven't been there since maybe Prefontaine a few years ago. So just to see it, I
Yeah,
mean, I was in awe. I didn't get to see everything I wanted to see. I wanted to walk around and see all the restaurant names and the track.
sure.
It was just so much I didn't get to see, but just to see what I did see, I was so impressed. It's way more than I expected. The pictures didn't give it justice.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think it's pretty neat. And I remember the old, but it's just I just think it's one of the nicest that I've seen anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And so I think they've done a great job with it. Um, let's see. Um, how would you? Okay, I'm going to give you the names of a few sprinters, and I'm going to ask you to describe them and try to use 5 or 6 words. I mean, if you want to use a single word, great, but just, and we'll start with Sha'Carri. So how would you
Okay.
describe Sha'Carri?
She's hardworking. Um, she's different. I know she's ambitious. What else? She's a lot. She has a humongous personality. You can go on for a while. Um, she's unique. Um,
Uh-huh.
she's I don't know. Did I say dedicated yet? She's super dedicated. If I didn't say it. Um,
Okay.
yeah, it's a list, but we have a person like humongous. Like she has a huge personality. I know y'all see that on the track, and it's the track there and at practice, so it doesn't change.
That's cool. Jenna Prandini.
Um, she's also hardworking. I know that much because she works with Flo. I don't really know her personally though, so this is kind of hard. That's all I can think of, just because I haven't really been around her in the professional world much, actually.
Okay. Allison Felix.
uh, she's a role model. I think like outside of track, I know what she's doing. She started a brand for women. I don't know if you saw that. And I just
Yeah.
think that's just awesome. I just think she's a humongous role model from when I was younger, looking up to her as a track athlete or wanting to run track, and now looking at her as outside of track as like a woman going out and supporting other women. So that's the biggest one. I probably could go on about her too, but right now, like just being a role model for that many years is amazing.
Shawnee Miller-Weaver.
She's super talented. That is one talented girl. She's tall. She's lean. She seems very nice from what I've seen on interviews, and she actually trains in the same city as me, just in a different group. So I do
Okay.
see her around at track meets, and she always seems to be, I'm just there to run.
Okay. Is there an athlete that you know of, do you think is totally underrated?
Man. um, there are a few, and I think one of the ones that I feel like a couple of them were in the final with me. I think Tiana Daniels has been underrated. I know she's made a
Yeah.
team before, but I don't think people really give her kudos. And Kayla White, I think she's pretty talented too.
Yeah. Sure.
And I know she's been through some things. Those are two of my main ones. I just know that
Cool.
they're super talented. They're not talked about a lot, but
If you were not doing the 100 and you were doing a field event, what field event would you do?
I would want a long jump.
Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like long.
I
That's a
did
good
too.
event.
I wish I could try it.
Yeah, I'm not sure Dennis would be a fan, right?
No.
If there was a throw, is there a throw that you would be interested in trying? Did you ever throw?
Nah, I just know all those things are so heavy. I don't know, maybe discus. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, kind of looks cool. The What is the biggest difference between a college athlete and a professional athlete?
Um, I think the biggest difference is how you think. I think in college we're doing this for fun. It's a scholarship. It doesn't matter if you do well or not. This isn't your livelihood. This isn't your salary. Whatever. You still get paid. And it's more so
Yeah.
for fun. But I feel like professional, like this is a career. It matters what you say. It matters what you eat, how you think. It's a lot more serious than I think people think it is. It's not just college part two.
Yeah, yeah. Talk to me about the level of competition, the difference between competition. Like when you were in high school and you go to college, you go, so say you're the best kid at your high school, then you go to college, and there's 8 women on the team that are going to challenge you every day, and then you're a pro, and you're in a group of 3 or 4, and they're challenging you every day. How do you work with that? How do you deal with that?
Um, my thing was always to just focus on me. I know that as you progress through like college and professional, everyone gets as good or better. So I had to take the time to think like if everyone around me is making sure that they're good and they're better and trying to get better than me, that maybe I should just worry about me and what I need to do to be a better me. And after I started thinking like that, I couldn't get like upset if I didn't have a good race or if someone beat me. I just had to go back and work on what I needed to do better.
What is um, what's the toughest part of training for the 100 meters?
Yeah, I feel like the whole thing. um, Honestly, it's not even physical anymore for me. It's being mentally there, if that makes sense. You
Sure.
can't just go out there and just run anymore. You have to go out there and run smart. You have to think about what you're doing a little more. And You have to stay a little more focused at this part of your race. It's not so much the gun goes off and you can just go blank. As easy as that is, and as much as I used to like doing that, I've learned this year to think more, and it helped me a lot in my race.
What would you tell? So I'm going to put you in a situation. You're in a room of high school girls, okay? And they're all sprinters, and they're thinking about running in college, but they're not sure. What would you tell them? What would be your biggest tip about competing in college?
What would I? Something I wish I knew was that, like you said, everyone around you is still going to be good. Everyone around you is the best in their state and things like that. So I would just encourage them not to get discouraged by the fact that you may not be the best person on the track all the time like you're used to being, but it doesn't mean you're not good or you can't be the best person on the track. It takes time. It takes a little patience for me. That's how my situation was. It took time. So I would tell them not to rush and, get discouraged because you're not number one all the time. It may not happen like that. It may, but
the we're showing track and field on TV, and I'm getting comments from people about how the NBC coverage is. They're not. I'm just going to be showing as many of the field events, but they're showing the sprints and things. If you had a chance to talk to the producer of NBC's Olympic Trials or Olympics TV, what would you suggest they add to cover women's track and field better?
I would definitely tell them maybe to try to do like split coverage with, field events. I know sometimes they do like flashes or, this is what's going on over here, but we're going back to the track. I think it needs to be a little more dedicated time to field events because just as important as the track is to, like to me, I like to see it. The field events are just as important to me and field event athletes. So if they could just make some time to not just, flash over, sometimes there's nothing going on the track.
Sure. No, I get it. Did you watch the Olympics on TV growing up?
I did. I can't remember everything, but I remember 2016 especially. I don't know why that was set in the most, but I do remember.
Mm-hmm. When did you first know you wanted to compete at the Olympics?
No, I don't know. It was maybe in high school. I think I discussed it with my high school coach maybe once or twice because he mentioned that, you could be good enough to go to the Olympics. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll consider it. But, from then to now, it didn't sound realistic. Especially once I got into college and I was one of those athletes that had to learn that, hey, everyone's just as good. It didn't seem realistic. So thought about it in high school, maybe didn't take it too serious until, a couple of years ago.
What does Dennis talk to you as athletes each day to kind of build you up? Or is there certain days that he talks to you to encourage you?
There's certain days, especially around championship season. We definitely got different talks. A lot of positivity, like, hey, are you ready? Or do you need me to do anything extra? How do you feel? It was a lot more of those around this championship season. I mean, he gets really into it, but
yeah.
But I mean, we need that at this point. It really kept the drive going and it helped me keep my confidence up as well.
Did you prepare for the heat? I know you're in a warm area, but did you have to do any extra preparation for the heat that you're expecting up here?
Not at all. It actually felt good in Oregon, so I didn't have to do anything. Yeah.
That's awesome. Javianne, you've been awesome. You've survived 38 minutes with me, so congratulations.
Thank you.
So happy to see you make the team, and obviously you're enjoying that. Best wishes for Tokyo. we'll keep our fingers crossed too about the 4x1 as well. My best to Dennis and your team. But thank you for taking the time today. And please give our best to Charlie, your manager, who helped set this up. He's always speaks very highly of you, and he's checking in with us to talk about interviews and things like that. And that's what a manager is supposed to do. So you've got a great crew around you. So thank you again.
All right. Thank you too.
This is Larry Eder with RunBlogRun. This is Socially the Distance, and we just spoke to Javianne Oliver, and she is numero deux. She finished second in the 100 meters to the U.S. Olympic trials. She's an Olympian, and that's totally cool. And she's a Nike-sponsored athlete. Javianne, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, sports fans, Larry Eder, RunBlogRun. This is your favorite program, Socially the Distance, but it's the epilogue, actually Larry's monologue, where I pontificate on something, and Mike, our production manager, limits my time with a taser from Indianapolis to Eugene, Oregon. Isn't that exciting? Anyway, today we spoke with Javianne Oliver, and Javianne took second place in the women's 100-meter final at the U.S. Olympic trials. This is her first Olympic team. She's quite excited. She is a training partner of Sha'Carri Richardson. Sha'Carri won. And the way she described Sha'Carri's ebullient attitude is that she has a huge personality. And that's the way I heard it described too. But let's talk about Javianne. Javianne went to the University of Kentucky, was coached by Coach Florial, and she is coming into her own. She had a 1083 wind aided, she said, during the trials. And she said before the trials, she had not gone under 11 seconds. And she's now gone under 11 seconds 3 times. And what does that tell you about the level of competition at the U.S. Olympic trials? It's huge. It is in many events better than the Olympics. And that's why some people come here. Javianne was a very good high school athlete. She was a very good athlete at the University of Kentucky. And then she decided to go pro. And she's a Nike pro athlete managed by Charlie Wells, a good friend of ours. And she has Ronnie Baker's in that group too, as well as Canary Hayes. So Charlie's got 3 athletes who have made the Olympic team. Kind of cool. Javianne competes with or trains with Dennis Mitchell. He is her coach, and Justin Gatlin's in the group. Sha'Carri is in the group. There's several other athletes in the group, and obviously they've been trained well, and they're ready to go for Eugene. And I asked a little bit about competing in the 4x1, and she would, of course, like to do that. But I thought her race was spectacular, and she kept her cool. She stayed under control. She had a good start, but she competed all the way to the end. And she says her weakest part's the last 30. I'll tell you, that's the toughest part of an Olympic trials race, and she kept it together. Coach Brooks Johnson told me years ago that it's all about controlling the deceleration in a sprint, and she just looked fantastic. Congratulations to Javianne Oliver. She had a fantastic race. The bottom line is this: at the Olympic trials, you have 8 to 24 of the finest athletes in your competition, and on that day, you've got to put it all together, and you've got to be in the top 3. Javianne did that. She finished second in the 100 meters to her training partner, Sha'Carri Richardson. And she has a good shot at being in the 4x1 as well. So we wish Javianne Oliver the very best. Thank her for her interview. We thank Mike Deering for managing the production of this interview. And I'm happy that I didn't mispronounce anything more than 15 times. So stay safe, enjoy the trials, and enjoy the upcoming Tokyo Olympics.